Did you guys sign Ohtani? What's with the full fucking kit?
Listen, I had it on, so I was like, I'm just gonna keep it on.
That's even stranger, I would argue.
Listen, I made a grocery run, had it on. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep it on. That's why I had it on running errands. Your guess is as good as mine on that one. But
had to pick up some 12 packs for the other undercovers. What were you doing?
Undercovers?
Yeah. I'll say this: if a white was wearing that hoodie, big undercover hours.
Fair, 100% fair, 1000%.
How is I'm going to jump right into it because this is so funny to me. How is Yankee pride at the moment with this Cashman Stanton back and forth?
Oh boy! How long do you want me to go on this? That could go on.
Listen, it could be the whole show because it is insane to me that this is how he chose to open free agency.
Listen, am I saying that Brian Cashman should have said it out loud? No. Was it in bad form? Yes. Indisputably. I'm not arguing any of those things. There's no positive or negative long-term effect here. We need to stop. Like, knock that shit
What
off.
about short-term?
None.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Who is it going to affect?
Who's going to affect? What's the name of of Stanton's agent? Wolf?
I think it's James Wolf. I'm pretty sure it's James Wolf. It's something Wolf, bro. Yeah.
Joel
Wolf? Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's something Wolf.
James Wolf, MLB agent, came up. Yeah, Joel Wolf. Oh, okay. Man, this is a rough list of clients. I saw one name I do not like.
but yeah, what is it going to affect? Like, listen, if your clients are not going to sign here because Brian Cashman called an injury-prone player injury-prone, it was never going to fucking work anyway. And guess what? Money talks. Like, Jacoby Ellsbury filed a fucking grievance against the Yankees, and Gerrit Cole signed like 3 months later. None of this shit matters. Like, money talks, the rest of this shit walks. Brian Cashman told the truth. It was some shit. You can't say everything true out loud. I understand that. But what are we doing here?
It's more... I think a lot of the big dogs, and there's really only 4 of them, I think all 4 of them are going to be in play this offseason. And when they are, they're all typically in the same neighborhood in terms of offers. And I am seeing he will be handling Yamamoto. So it's like, is that the guy to piss off? The guy who's also representing Yamamoto?
If Yamamoto doesn't sign here because Brian Cashman said Giancarlo Stanton is injury prone, which is indisputably true, Stanton said it himself, then he did everybody a favor because he ain't supposed to be here. If that is what bothers you, you're not supposed to be here.
Not bothers. Yamamoto may never even get the Yankees offer if it has to go through the Big Wolf.
Big Wolf is fine. He's fine. Big Wolf is fine. He said what he said. He went to bat for his client because that's what agents do. Do I think Big Wolf behind the scenes actually cares that much? No, I don't. Like, their relationship, the Yankees' relationship with Big Wolf. Why do I keep calling him Big Wolf? Wolf, excuse me. The Yankees' relationship with Wolf.
It took you no time to buy in
Wolf. The Yankees' relationship with Wolf is fine. It will be fine as long as the money comes and the money is talking. It'll be fine.
So Big
but
Wolf.
Like all this proved to me, and it's not even proved. Cashman's an asshole. We knew that already. Cashman's been an asshole. He's said way worse. But I think the single worst thing I saw about this whole thing was, I miss George. You ain't no way you fucking see. Like, and granted, it was somebody who was born in like 96. So that should have been the first message to just ignore the shit and keep it pushing.
Someone born in 96 as a Yankees fan should miss George.
Well, yes, but like not for that reason. Like, oh, well, Cashman said this. George would never. George called Hideki Arabu a fat toad in public. He hired a private investigator to try and catch Dave Winfield in the act of doing something, bro. Like, we don't have to do this. We really don't.
But George would also cuss someone out to their, like, what was it, Billy Martin? He was just constantly firing and rehiring, like, in the same hour. Yes. You know what I mean? Like,
yes. He was insane.
He would of course use the media, but you knew George would no doubt go into a locker room and be like, "I all 25 of you fucking stink." Like he would, and he would have
But who's to say
reasons.
Brian Cashman won't?
I've never heard that. I'm at. Has
Oh,
he ever?
Brian Cashman told Derek Jeter to his face, "Yo, go find more money then. Since you think you worth more, go find more money then." And that's
That's
after telling him like, "Yo, I
negotiating.
would, sure," but that's after telling him that I would take like 7 shortstops over you, and that's a franchise icon at that point. Granted, he was nearing the end of his career, or whatever, but he was like, "Yo, go find better offers then." He told it to his face, and Jeter has hated him for it ever since.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I don't like everything you're saying can be true. It doesn't like it's also like like the Yankees aren't in a good spot. Like both of these things can be reasons for each other.
If the Yankees are in a bad spot, it has nothing to do with this.
I'm saying with Cashman, it has something to do with Cashman.
Oh yeah, 100%. But
Right.
nothing to do with him
That's
being
what
an
I'm saying.
asshole. He's just a fucking asshole for the hell of being an asshole. Like the rest of that shit is like his transaction and the moves that he fucking makes are the problem. Not
Sure.
hey
I'm saying
him telling the truth out loud that he shouldn't say. Like that's not the issue here.
you can't be both. You know what I mean? Like you can't be a loser and talking shit. You can be winning and talking shit. And that was Steinbrenner's whole jam. He was just, and I understand Steinbrenner had droughts, no doubt.
Right.
But it's like he was talking shit because he had like a level of excellence that he demanded. Cashman's just talking shit because he doesn't think he has another play. He think like to me as the other side of the fence, it's like he's trying to be a Yankee, but he's not. Like it feels fake.
I mean the thing is with Cashman is he's always done this.
No
Like
doubt. I'm not
he's
denying that.
always done this. Like whether the Yankees were good, bad, indifferent, he's always done this. Like he's always been an ass. Like that's kind of part of what's surprising to me about the pushback. It's not so much that there's pushback on him saying it out loud. He shouldn't have. Again, I will reiterate, he should not have said it out loud. It serves no fucking purpose. But like the people are like, oh, Cashman is unhinged. Like, bro, he called Gleyber Torres fat, like on film twice, like multiple times. Like this is not new. He called Gary Sanchez lazy without actually saying it multiple times. None of this shit is new. He's an ass. He's been an ass. If they go out there and they do this in the offseason, none of us will care.
Well, that's
And if they
also
do
where
this, the agents won't care either. You said what
when
up?
people say I miss George, that would be a guarantee. It's not a guarantee that they'll
Oh,
make that happen.
listen, and that would be my problem. Like, if you're gonna talk like this, go go act like it. Then,
Sure,
like that's my
sure.
problem. If you're gonna talk like this and be like,
That's where it feels fake to me. That's
right,
where
like
it's
if you're gonna
like
talk
you're
like this and
half
then go
stepping.
sign Kevin Kiermaier, you can miss me with it. And no disrespect to Kevin Kiermaier, good player. But if that's gonna be like your main signing after
Sure.
running around like you Tupac for a month, then you can miss me with it. Like fine, but also like it might age well. We might
So
look back at December and they signed and traded for everybody. We might.
maybe, but
I doubt it, but we might.
Big Wolf said, I read the context of the entire interview. I think it's a good reminder for all free agents considering signing in New York, both foreign and domestic, that to play for that team, you've got to be made of Teflon, both mentally and physically, because you can never let your guard down, even in the off season. I think that's where I think the very last part of that is the interesting part to me. It's just like it's the 50 Cent. Like, what do you say "fuck me" for? Like, I'm not doing anything. What are you talking about?
Listen, what he said is true. I can't dispute that. What he said is true, and I don't care for it because a lot of that is just this whole setup is toxic, and I hate
Yeah.
that shit. It's fucking toxic. So it's just it's not something I wear on my sleeve like a lot of Yankees. Like, oh, you got to be built different to play in front of us. And when people say that shit with their chest puffed out, it's like, bro, that's not a good thing.
No.
Like that means we're an insufferable toxic bunch. Those are not positive traits. At last I fucking checked.
So Forbes has him as the number 3 most powerful agent. I don't know
In
what it,
baseball?
yeah.
Oh, I was about to. If you said in sports, I was about to ask a lot of
No,
questions.
just baseball.
Okay,
Um,
and Boris is one, and who's two?
but like the title of the article is the most powerful. When's this from? So it's from last November. So recent enough. I don't know how often they're writing power articles on the agents of baseball. Oh no, this is sports. This isn't just baseball. This is the most powerful sports agents 2022.
So who the fuck is two?
Colon Scott Boras is in a league of his own. So that's
Yeah, clearly. Don't
agreed.
even need to ask who's one. Yeah, Scott Boras is one. Who's two?
Two is Jeff Schwartz, who is basketball. Although his key clients is strange. Like he is the best player in the world. He's got Jokic, but like the other, like they list 3 key clients for everyone, and for him they list Jokic, Brandon Ingram, and Cade Cunningham. Now, no doubt, all max players. So that's where it's like, how much negotiating is this guy really doing? You know what I mean? He's like, hey, it's time.
Right. Right. Like, yo, the rookie deal's about to end, bro. It's time. Like, you know what to do.
My check. Yeah.
Run me right. Like, it's a max deal, bro. Like, what is it negotiating? It's like either you give the max or you don't, and somebody else will.
Sure. Yeah, it's quite simple. They got Wolf 3, which is wild. He's got 1.16 billion under the belt. His key clients are Arenado, Stanton, Yu Darvish. I know the name I was referring to earlier with a quick Google was Trevor Story, who the agent got him paid. You got to give him credit.
But
there's no but. That's it.
Oh,
we're talking about the agent.
Like a butt was coming.
We're just talking about the agent.
Oh, it sounded like a butt was coming.
Agent did his job. They got Rich
I've known
Paul
you for long enough, bro. It sounded like a butt was coming. I was wrong.
But. No, they got Rich Paul 4. I'd probably swap him and Schwartz. I understand they're doing this just by money under the belt at the moment. Rich Paul, he had Zach LaVine wearing a fucking clutch billboard on the sideline of, I don't even know what game they were at. I was like,
Zach LaVine, wait, a what billboard?
Clutch.
You said Zach LaVine?
Yeah.
A Zach LaVine billboard?
No. He had Zach LaVine wearing a clutch billboard on the side.
Oh, I thought you said they had a Zach LaVine billboard. I was about to ask a lot of questions.
No,
okay. Got it. Copy.
And then I don't know that I've heard of any of these people after this, which is wild. Rosenhaus is down to 13. That's shocking. Rosenhaus was like football Boris growing
for
up.
a while.
Yeah,
but I haven't heard Drew Rosenhaus' name in a while either. So maybe that's why.
No, that's wild. I mean, it's fucking crazy business. But the Yamamoto part's interesting, and you sent something that Kodai Senga is like heavily recruiting him to the Mets, which I get. I very much understand. I know Yoshida's doing the same. I wonder. I think of this 2 ways. I wonder if he's. I assume the entire industry is waiting on Ohtani. Like this offseason sucks so far. Like genuinely, it's been awful. It's never good at the beginning, but at least last year we had fucking what was it? Ty Anderson, who was the dickhead who went from the Dodgers to the Angels.
Tyler Anderson.
Yeah, so it was Ty Anderson. Yeah, we had that immediately. We usually get a couple immediately. There's been none of them.
There's been nothing, bro. We're too busy fucking groveling at Brian Cashman's commentary. That's what we're fucking doing in the offseason so far.
It's been brutal, but it's like I wonder if Yamamoto and Shohei have talked. I know he's talked to Senga. I know he's talked to Yoshida. I know like Koji's been on TV trying to recruit him like all season over in Japan. Like there is like a real buzz about him. I almost wish Shohei wasn't a free agent because when Daisuke was the free agent his year, when Tanaka was the free agent, there's a different buzz when someone's coming over. You know what I mean? It's like It's like transferring schools. It's like, oh, who's the new guy? Like there's a different buzz about even when like Cespedes was coming out of Cuba. Like there's a different buzz when it's like, oh, we've never even like it's the closest you get to old school legend, like John Henry style. Like, oh, this guy hits 700-foot home runs. Like it's just different. So
it was the same way with Puig too.
Oh, big time. Yeah. And Puig's story I love talking about. Not the end of the story. He really fucked up the ending of the story. The beginning or the middle of the story, rather, where he was taking like multiple submarines owned by the cartel to different parts of Mexico to get freed out of Cuba. Unbelievable trip to America for Puig. And then he decided to be a real fucking asshole. So he had to ruin that fucking story. But I do wonder, like, are he and Shohei like a package deal, or were he and Senga a package deal that was kind of already agreed upon a year ago? Were he and Yoshida teammates with the Oryx Buffaloes? Were they a package deal? That's gonna be, or is he just gonna go on his own fucking own, like to none of these teams?
Listen, to be a little bit reductionist. Well, I mean, this is very reductionist actually. I think this whole free agency, Yamamoto's free agency, is just how obnoxious is Steve Cohen willing to be? If he's willing to just be really obnoxious, he's going to be a Met. If he's not, then it becomes debatable. Like, if he's willing to just say, all right, I am not going to be outbid, which, I mean, would not be the first time for Steve Cohen. Like, I'm not going to be outbid. He's not going to be outbid. Like, nobody got it like him. So, like, he's just not going to be outbid. And then, obviously, like, you have the blessing. I don't know if the blessing was needed, but you have the blessing from Kodai, because I know that that's a thing. Like, you don't want to go to another Japanese guy's team, blah, blah, blah. I know that's a thing. You have the blessing. Listen, if Steve Cohen wants the guy, he's going to get him.
Sure.
Or, excuse me, if he wants him bad enough, he's going to get him. But, like, he's going to have a big, big market. Like, that guy is going to get – I think the contract he gets is going to surprise us. Because, I mean, there's only been, what, $200 million contracts given out to pitchers? It's Cole and Strasburg, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's Cole and Strasburg. I think we're going to have a third. Like, I think Yamamoto is going to he's going to clear $200 million.
Yeah, I mean, we've had higher AAVs between Verlander and Scherzer these last couple of years.
Right.
I don't know anyone else who's crossed that 200 threshold. I think it's going to be like, I've had 210 in my mind for a couple months now. It being higher than that wouldn't shock me, especially since it comes with no like draft compensation. Like, he's a true free agent.
Right.
So that part, yeah, if Cohen wants him, and if he wants to, I mean, he still has a say here. There's like, he could theoretically be like, yeah, $30 million more at this number doesn't mean much to me versus, 240 versus 210. That's not true. Everyone cares about that extra third. Most people do. Like, most people,
99% of people do, but there's the 1%. There's the 1%. Yeah, there's that $30 million just doesn't do shit for me like that.
But I'm also interested because the Mets specifically, they go out, they hire Stearns from Milwaukee, and he was not the one who pissed off Corbin Burnes last offseason. Does seem like Burnes is going to be traded. Really sucks for the Brewers that Woodruff is already out all next year, because they could have really gotten a lot if they decided to sell everywhere. Mm-hmm. So that really fucking sucks for them and him, a year out from free agency to get hurt like that. To me, it makes too much sense the way the Mets moved at the deadline, buying those prospects, like highly rated prospects. They can't keep all of them. They can't play all of them. It makes almost too much sense that they would go out and get Corbin Burnes and allocate that money there. You did hear Cohen talking about, we're not just buying everything. You saw their restraint last offseason when they got Correa to agree to a contract, and then when they looked at his medicals, they said, you know what, never mind. I don't know that it has this like boundless checkbook that people talk about. He'll spend. I'm not saying he's like a fucking pussy who won't spend. Of course, that's not true. But I do think he does draw lines. He didn't get to be this rich by spending all of his money.
Oh, he absolutely draws lines. But like, obviously, everybody has a line. Everybody has a person that they won't draw a line for. Well, relatively speaking, you know what I mean? Or the line is just higher. And like with Yamamoto, that might be the case. And if it is, like, I feel pretty good about saying he's going to be a Met. But obviously, it depends on what he values. Because, like, as you said, some people will like, one team offers $30 million more than the other. They might take the second team because, all right, I just like the situation better, like the city better, whatever. So we'll see, like, how much more we're talking about. Because I think the safest conclusion we could draw here is that the Mets are going to have the highest offer. Now, how much more that is, who knows? Will he take it? Who knows? But they're going to be the leader in the clubhouse when it comes to total dollars.
Right. Like, are they like, oh, we've got 5 on top of that? Like, that's not winning you any bids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like, if you don't want to be here, $5 million, damn sure not going to do it. Right. 30 might talk. 35 might talk. 5 is not. 10 is not. Like, you gotta up it, big dog.
And they certainly can. But it's like, if especially the season they're coming off of, where they expected to be so dominant, didn't even make the playoffs, they were sellers at the deadline. I do wonder where risk management comes into play. They obviously cleared house in the front office. They're trying to be better about decisions they make. Corbin Burnes, you've seen him win a Cy Young. Yamamoto, he's won every award possible to win in Japan. He just hasn't done it here. So that's where it's like, which guy do I feel more confident in? Do I take Acuna's Louis Angel Acuna and like Ronnie, whoever the fuck they want to deal from out of their prospect pool and just pay Burnes? Because you're not going to trade for Corbin Burnes without extending him immediately. So it's like, at that point, is Burnes going to be cheaper and he's more accomplished here already? That's where it's like, all right, who is the better guy to have? The guy for 240 who's never pitched here before, or the guy for 150 who I've seen win a Cy Young?
That's an interesting question, and that could theoretically throw a wrench in the whole thing. Now, the thing with Yamamoto that separates him probably from Burnes is the business angle. So, like, business is going to boom if you sign Yamamoto for obvious reasons, in a way that it just won't for Burnes. Great pitcher,
sure,
it just won't.
But you could already also be like, we've already got Senga. And I'm not saying this is the correct way to go about it either, by the way, but it's like, we've already got Senga. We had Kaz Matsui back in the day. I know the Mets have signed a ton of people out of Japan. So it's like,
Shinjo,
they probably already feel pretty good about their foothold.
As they should.
As they should. You know what I mean? So that's where it's like, all right, I can see I don't know that the Mets are just going to automatically operate the way they did last offseason is more what I'm trying to say.
I definitely don't think they will, because last offseason they were operating from the position of a team that was close to winning a championship. Like this season, I don't think they're that far. Like I think a couple of good signings in a trade could get them firmly in contention. But like I think they're also operating from the sense of like, we have building to do. Whereas last year they were just like, all right, I think we're close to the threshold that it takes to win a championship, and we just have to add.
I don't even know if it's building as much as like organizational direction. They were kind of like the Mariners last year. They didn't adapt to the rules at all, like at fucking all. All the rule changes came in and they were still playing 3 true outcomes ball. You know what I mean? Like that's where it was like, oh yeah, we're going to lose more games because other teams are just getting more scoring opportunities than us. Scherzer regressed. Verlander was fine. Senga started off okay and then became dominant as the season went on. So, and Edwin Diaz got hurt before the season even started, and people wanted to burn the World Baseball Classic to the fucking ground
because somebody got hurt. And it's like, if he would have done that in his bedroom, what are you gonna do? Burn down houses? Like I don't like what.
Rhys Hoskins just missed the entire season because of spring training. No one was like, cancel spring training.
It was just, hey man, it's unfortunate. Yeah, that's the takeaway here.
Yeah,
like, nothing more. Like it's unfortunate. It happens.
Definitely sucks. It's less sucky when a guy just got paid and reset the market for his position. It's a little less sucky personally. But you know, I mean, the part of it also is like Edwin Diaz, at least in his mind, he's like, I'm building a Hall of Fame resume, like a dominant closer for his era. Obviously, when he first got to the Mets, it was shaky. When he was with the Mariners, it was not shaky. And then the year before he got hurt, he was again the most dominant closer in the league.
Yeah.
When you get a year off like that, like all of a sudden your resume takes a big hit. That's 40-something saves off the resume. Who knows what his ERA would have been? You know what I mean? Like that's where it's like, all right, yeah, personal accolades. Now it fucking stinks.
And he's a pitcher. So it's like, obviously you have the arm health related to the shoulder or whatever. And then you have the fact that especially relief pitchers are volatile. So like, it could just go like this. Like we could just wake up and next year he stinks. That happens.
For sure. Was the case 2 years ago. Ask any Mets fan. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens to Young. I'm interested for the fucking posting window to open. That's going to be very interesting. I'm trying to think. So the Yankees have pissed off Stanton and Yamamoto's agent. They hired a hitting coach.
They sure did. They hired James Rosen. I don't have a lot to say about this because it's like it's a hitting coach. I'm not going to pretend like I know what the fuck's going to happen, right? I will say a quote from him I liked was, they were asking about approach, and he said one of his mentors must have said something like, You know, I'm not old school and I'm not new school. I'm in school. Like, I appreciate that. Like, all right,
That stinks.
I the quote's not fire. I just appreciate what it means. Like, the
He
quote's
does not
not
have bars at the ready.
like, hey man, he's not a rapper. All right, okay, fair. Yes, he does not have bars, but I thought the message was good. Now, obviously, none of this shit matters if they don't get in people who can actually hit, and we know that that's what you're judged by. Because Dylan Lawson sounded good when he got signed here too. His message sounded good, like, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and they did. And in the minor leagues, they did, and it worked. And in the majors, they gave him bad hitters for the most part. That's how it worked. That's how it went. And then they scapegoated him. So we'll see what happens at the end of it. But I like that quote, and I hope that they get him some people to work with, and generally just a lot of being a hitting coach. At least the very surface level stuff that I know is dealing with people. Like what works for Aaron Judge might not work for Gleyber Torres. What works for Gleyber Torres might not work for Juan Soto. On down the line. I mean, everything works for Juan Soto, but we get the point. Like
he's also never going to be talking to Juan Soto, so I don't know what that has to do with anything.
I mean, he's employed by the Yankees. The Yankees are going to employ Juan Soto and give it like a month.
I love how you're getting Yamamoto, Soto. You've got no good prospects to trade.
I don't think the Yankees getting Yamamoto. So
team doesn't spend any money.
I don't. I think they're getting Soto.
You're getting,
and I'll say it. Y'all could dunk on me if they don't. I don't care. Like I think they're gonna get it. I think it makes sense for everybody involved.
It for sure makes sense for the Yankees to get Juan Soto. I don't know what you have to give to get him.
We've been over this. We went over this last podcast.
Yeah, you've got pitchers no one's ever heard of.
And that's that's the point. They're prospects, bro. Yeah, no, that's the point.
I've heard of prospects. These guys.
If you haven't heard of Drew Thorpe, that's about you, buddy. Drew Thorpe cooked he won minor league pitcher of the year.
Big relief pitcher, like 6th and 7th inning name on Drew Thorpe.
Listen, that's fine, but the resume says what it says. I'm not even here to argue. Actually, no, I am here to argue because Chase Hampton is the name that I was like, ooh, I don't know about that one, buddy. Drew Thorpe, I could see that being a successful pitcher. Chase Hampton, just on name alone, it's like, ooh, I don't know about that one. But they're both really good pitchers.
When you guys traded for Montes, then it was like a Waldachuk.
Yeah, Ken Waldachuk.
Who was the other fucking asshole you traded? Like even worse.
Ken Waldachuk, JP Sears.
Yeah, JP Sears. Get the fuck out of here with these Toronto Blue Jays ass names. Like I can't. JPC, like
JP Sears definitely sound like somebody who went to jail for shady business. That definitely sounds like the name of somebody who went to jail for shady.
It sounds like the son or even grandson of the guy who invented Sears. Like like his grandpappy did it in like 1868, and he's just been eating. He went to Yale. He didn't learn a fucking thing. Big coke problem, like a John Paul Sears. Like, get him out of my face, dude. Awful. Huge. Can't control it at all.
Oh man, but yeah, when Juan Soto's a Yankee, we're gonna look back at this, and I'm gonna have my day on this show, and I'm gonna celebrate, and it's gonna be a great time.
I mean, I think if Soto wants to play, I imagine he wants to play for like one of 3 teams, and I'm sure the Yankees are one of them. Like that wouldn't surprise me at all. I just think there are other teams with better prospects that can go get him if they want him.
I mean, sure. Like the Padres, from everything we've heard, they've made it clear that they want arms. The Yankees have more of those to give than most. Now, the thing with that is like the people who have comparable prospects, the teams who have comparable prospects, do they want to engage in this? Because it's like, all right, first of all, you're trading for him to pay him like $32 million in arbitration, and then if you want to keep him, you're talking about what, $450 roughly, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. I'm not sure. Scott Boras is his agent. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets $1 billion because Scott Boras he makes the impossible possible every single offseason. You're like, oh, no way that guy gets $150 million. You're right. He's going to get like 180 instead because Scott Boras is his agent and he makes miracles. So I don't know what the fuck Juan Soto's going to get, but you got to pay him 30 in arbitration, and then if you want to keep him long term, you got to pay him 450. Not a lot of teams are willing to do that. At least I assume that a lot of teams are not willing to do that. So like, that's why it makes sense more than anything else. Like that's why he didn't get traded to the Yankees in the first place. The Yankees wanted him from the Nationals. At least,
of course.
This is just me talking from intel that I heard.
No, of course.
And the Nationals picked up the phone. They were like, "Hey, you don't have James Wood, so we don't have shit to talk about." Basically, how I was told. Like, yo, we want James Wood, and then they were just like, "All right, we're gonna get James Wood. We're gonna pick like 4 other guys because that's what happened." And then we're going to be done with it. But the Yankees won him then. The Nationals just didn't have no reason to play ball with them.
There's no denying the Yankees. I know the Yankees are dumb. They're not so fucking stupid that they can't look at Juan Soto and be like,
"Oh yeah, for sure, they love
player."
Him.
Yeah, like I can understand that.
Everybody loves him, but they love him.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a GM out there who's like, "I'm all set." He needs to be killed, not fired. Killed. Like,
it's not enough. It's not enough. Take his life.
Yeah. Oxygen's too good for this person. It's going to their brain.
No way I should be breathing the same oxygen as this fucking guy. Get him up out of here, right?
No, that's a dumbo. That's a dumb person. You can't have that guy around making decisions.
Nah, but how does ends? I'll be the cynic for a minute. How does ends like the Texas Rangers come out of nowhere? Like, you know what? You know what's nice? You know what's better than 1 championship? 2 championships. Come on down 1. Like, yeah,
I think people sleeping on the Rangers spending. Like, I've seen them linked to Hader. I've seen them linked to Shohei. All I agree with. Like, I
think they're gonna get somebody. I don't know who. I think they're gonna get somebody.
Yeah, I mean, they were throwing a Aroldis Chapman out there. Like, I'm sure they were trying to get Hader. Like, that makes a ton of sense to me. And I don't think they're gonna stop there. Like that. This is just kind of what they've done. And when you win a championship, you get a big influx of cash. And the big mistake a lot of teams that win, especially when they win their first, is they re-sign everybody to crazy over-market deals. They don't really have any.
That never ends well.
But they don't have anyone to even do that.
I know. But like in general, that just never ends well. It's like, I get it. Like, we feel good and we're trying to give everybody raises and all that. And like, I'm not even knocking the idea in principle because I can't be the pay everybody guy and then be like, no, don't do that. Sure, but it's just, it's not going to end well, typically speaking, when you do that. It's just not. And they don't have anybody to do that with.
Right. They did it the last 2 off seasons, so that's where they're pretty good. Them signing pretty much anyone wouldn't shock me. The Padres, rest in peace to their owner, came out of nowhere for me. I don't know if other people were paying more close attention if he's sick.
Oh, yeah, no, I can't. That one shocked the fuck out of me, too. I was like, whoa.
And it had me thinking, like, if he knew like that knock was coming, maybe that explains how they've been operating a little bit. Like, hey, let's go all in. I'm trying. And I mean, it's not like he was never the A's, you know what I mean? He's always been trying.
But they were never $200 million payroll either.
No.
And then all of a sudden they made that sudden change, and it's like, did they know something?
Sure.
Which I think is very possible.
And is that now where it's like, now it's time to start selling off some parts like Soto, like Xander? That's where it's like, if you guys get Soto and Xander, I'd be more, if you just got Soto, I'd be like, fine. It sucks. Definitely sucks. If you got Soto and Xander, I don't know what I would do.
I don't care if they get Xander, but I would care just for this show. Because I would turn on the obnoxious just for the hell of it. Xander's good, don't get me wrong, but it's not, he ain't moving it like that for me. But I don't think Xander's getting traded. As a matter of fact, Xander has a no trade clause. So this might all be moot.
I'm sure his check clears. He's not going to the Royals. He'll go somewhere.
Fair. But he might just want to stay in California. It's not like that's far-fetched. He might.
No, it's not far-fetched. But I think if it's like the right place, I think he'd be like, sure. I mean, he wears 2 for a reason. What number?
True.
What number would he wear?
As a Yankee?
Yeah.
That's a fucking great question. I have no idea. That's a great question. I don't think we'll ever find out the answer, but that's a great question.
You should probably give him 2. He's better than the last one.
Was there another Yankee that wore Derek Jeter's number while I wasn't looking? Since then?
That's what I'm talking about. That'd be very funny if they gave it to someone else.
Did they give it to someone? I don't. Did they like accidentally distribute it to
somebody
somebody else?
Cabrera's out there in 2. Everyone's like, what the fuck?
Or they sent somebody out there in 22 and like the 2 just disappeared. The second 2 just disappears for whatever reason. Like, I don't know. Xander's not better than Derek Jeter.
They are Nike jerseys, which if you saw
Yeah,
Klay
true.
Thompson last night, they do
Xander
not
tell
last.
you himself. Oh yeah, Klay Thompson jersey got ripped in like 72 pieces. But Xander himself would tell you he's not better than Derek Jeter. Knock that shit
Of
off.
course he would. He's a great guy. He's
Knock that shit off.
modest. He's like when A-Rod got there and was like, no, Jeter can play short. He's
No, but we
better.
know A-Rod's a liar. There's a difference. We know he's a fucking liar. Xander is not a liar. He's an honest, good fella.
No, he's a good guy, but
He's
he
a
would
good
be
guy.
lying in that.
A-Rod's a fucking narcissistic liar, but that's another story for another day.
Oh, I saw A-Rod breaking down a hitting video the other day, and it's like, just do more of this. Like this, you're at your absolute best when you're just talking pure hitting, pure mechanics, pure all of that. I can't remember what he was talking about specifically, but he was breaking down it was the in the '09 World Series when he was talking about the at-bat he had.
Yeah.
And he's like, I know he's not going to throw me a slider because we got, was it Damon on third?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Damon just stole the 2 bases right before that. Yep.
Yeah. He's like, we've got Damon on third. I know it eliminates one of his pitches. So I'm sitting there. He throws me a fastball up and in first pitch. I'm like, go ahead and throw it again. See what happens. And and he does. Listen, and that was that.
if you told me A-Rod was making hitting videos and he's not talking about any of the following: launch angle, because he's absolutely moronic when it comes to that discussion, bunts, and fucking small ball. If you just told me he's banned from talking about those things, I'd watch every single available A-Rod clip talking about hitting or baseball in general.
I think he does a lot of that on broadcast. Like, I think there's like a big board on the other side of the camera, like, mention these things. People like these things. Mention them. When he just goes off on a genuine, like, side tangent about hitting, it's always good. Like, always.
True. But the bunting shit pisses me off. Like, not even necessarily because I disagree. Like, if Walt Weiss, I don't know why I pulled Walt Weiss out, but if he went on TV and was talking about bunting, okay, I could disagree and shrug. Yo, you hit 696 home runs. Stop talking to me about bunting, bro. You didn't bunt.
He's like, I've seen other people do it. It's pretty good.
Right. You hit 696 home runs. Let Jeff Fry talk about fucking bunting, bro. Let him talk about that shit. You shouldn't. You didn't bunt. You can't relate.
No.
We're not going to have LeBron James on TV talking about being a marksman, are we? No, because he can't fucking relate.
But LeBron's also a prolific liar, so he might.
1,000%. 1,000%. Like, he'll say he saw Steph Curry breaking the fucking 3-point record a mile away, like 2006, playing Zach Davidson or whatever the fuck. Yeah, he'll say shit like that. Like, he a prolific liar. Yes.
I called the Davidson coach. I said, this guy's not getting any offers. You got to get him. You got to get him in your program.
My favorite LeBron lies is what about Kobe? Like, I saw the look in his eye and I knew he was about to drop 70. LeBron.
I saw him in warm-ups.
Nobody cares.
That was not that like that. I don't think that was a national game. I don't.
It wasn't.
I don't think Lakers Raptors was not.
Like 10:30 on a Saturday night. No, it was not a fucking national game. No. He's like, yo, I was up watching that shit, and I knew. I started looking his eye in the layup line, and I knew he was about to go crazy. Like, LeBron, sir, you were not sitting up watching that shit when it was happening. Knock it off.
League passed LeBron, but he called David Stern the year prior. He said, you need to invent this thing where I can watch every game. Fuck I remember going to school the next day and people were like, did you hear what happened? And I was like, no. They're like, Kobe scored 81. And I hated Kobe. So I was like, not 100.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
So Wilt's record's still in check? Cool. Sounds good.
Me too. That's some top tier hate shit. I like that.
It was legit. My genuine first reaction was like, someone scored 100 before. That's not news. Next. Like, fuck out of here.
They really do act like that's a record, but that could be a whole different topic.
Listen, we're getting dangerously close to me bringing up how Yankees fans acted when Aaron Judge didn't break Barry Bonds or any of Sammy Sosa's records. Like it wasn't. It wasn't the most I've seen, let alone ever.
The AL record is still funny.
It's still not a thing. I agree.
That's still funny. The AL record. Like, why are you separating leagues? I've never heard this before. Ever. Never. Like, nobody said Barry Bonds was breaking the NL home run record. Like, nobody said that. Nobody. Nobody said Mark McGwire was breaking the NL home run record. Nobody said Sammy Sosa was breaking the NL home run record. On down the line.
They don't say the Cardinals have the most NL titles. You know what I mean?
No,
Like
they don't.
they got the
No.
Yankees got 27, and then
Drew Brees
the
has
rest
the
of the
most
field.
NFC
Right.
pass. Nobody ever fucking said that shit. Nobody.
AL home run record.
Miguel Cabrera has the most AL RBI or whoever the fuck is on top of the list. Like, nobody ever says this shit. And now we want to say it? Like, okay.
One of the more insane things that's happened. And so many people went along with it. I was like, what? What is happening here? I wish
it's simply because Bonds at the top of the list. That's the only reason anybody really cares.
Everyone above it was steroid guy.
True, right? I'm sorry. Yeah, everybody else, juiced up, and Aaron Judge is clean. So
sure, yeah. You guys hired a hitting coach. We hired a pitching coach. Craig Breslow went out, got his old teammate Andrew Bailey. Like you with the hitting coach thing, I can't break down a pitching coach. I have no fucking idea. Like I read something on The Athletic today about what he was doing out in San Francisco, and it's so hard for me to discern the difference between who should really be getting credit here. Like, was Logan Webb always going to be good, or did he genuinely benefit from what Andrew Bailey was telling him? That's not a knock on Andrew Bailey. I don't know. Now there were pitchers who went to the Giants who had been bums elsewhere who turned into really good pitchers with the Giants. So that's where I'm more likely to give the guy credit. Someone who is like just came in second in Cy Young, is that the difference between like eighth and second? You know what I mean? Still a difference, no doubt, but was a guy who was always going to be good, still good, regardless of who was talking to him. Like Brian Bayo has been really good, and I know he's had no good advice given to him this entire time with the Red Sox. So it's like if Bailey can take him from a number 2 to a number 1, unbelievable hire, tremendous. If he can help in the minor leagues and just in spring training helping guys out, if he can from the top build down structure, this is how we're going to do it in the organization. This is how he did it in San Francisco. I know from the minute he got there, his first year, San Francisco was ranked 15th in pitching, and that was year 1. You can only do so much in year 1. Every year after that, they were like top 5. And again, there was a lot of talent there. I don't know how much credit he deserves for that. How much of that was just guys maturing? How much of that is guys getting into their 3rd, 4th year in the league? All that, learning how to be professionals. There's a lot that goes into it. It's not as simple as like throw a slider when it's a 1-2 count. Like, there's more. There's so much more to it than that. But all I can say is I hope it goes better than Andrew Bailey's last tenure in Boston, because I was so fucking excited when we traded for Andrew Bailey, and that shit didn't work. And it happens. It fucking happens. He was elite, truly elite closer for the A's. Red Sox traded for him. I believe he was replacing Papelbon, if I got that timeline correct in my head. And that shit didn't. The Red Sox from like 2009 through 2013, not even like the beginning of 2013, like May of 2013, had this revolving door of closers that just didn't fucking work. Andrew Bailey was the first of those, and that always bummed me out because he really could have he really could have helped me out back then when we were in desperate need of a closer. We had Schilling back there for a little when he was coming back from injury. We went out and got Mark Melancon, who was awful in Boston and then pitched for another fucking decade. Elite.
He sure did. Mark Melancon pitched for a long fucking time, dude. Oh my God.
Every year, it's like Mark Melancon's leading the NL in saves. I was like,
every year. And it's always on some random fucking team. Always. Like the Pirates or whoever the fuck. It's always on a random team. He pitched until he was like 40.
Infuriating. I was like, where was this? Where was this?
He couldn't deal with the Boston toxicity, man.
I don't even think that was it. I just think it was wrong place, wrong time. Like, I just don't think. I think we got him from the Diamondbacks, if I remember correctly. And back then, like, we've traded for 2 Diamondbacks closers, him and fucking Byung-Hyun Kim. Oh, I'm done with trading with Diamondbacks closers.
Hey man, if the Yankees would have won to the 2001 World Series, they should have gave Kim the MVP.
He was trying.
He was trying his damnedest to give the Yankees the series.
Red Sox saw that. They were like, we need it. We need that here today. But I can't even say like it's all on Andrew Bailey. Breslow came here. He's got the pitching background. He had rebuilt the Cubs pitching operations. So it starts with him. Bailey's his number one, obviously. That's that's the tier we're trying to set up. That's the hierarchy we're trying to set up. So it trickles down from the top. Hard to knock Breslow's first move. His second move, kind of surprising. The 40-man list deadline was yesterday, I believe, and 2 days ago from when people are watching this. And it was kind of surprising. One guy who I've mentioned on this show, Shane Drone, was not protected. And a lot of people think he could be the first guy taken in the Rule 5 draft, first round in the Rule 5 draft. We won't do a lot of Rule 5 talk on here, but
No.
He was left unprotected, which was a little shocking and a little unshocking. He obviously had a really good start to last year in Double-A. He got up to Triple-A. Wasn't the same guy at all. So that's where it's like, is this someone we need to protect? Is it someone we necessarily need? Now, I say this, he's going to go to the fucking Dodgers and be unbelievable. But we did keep, I believe it was Wickelman Gonzalez and Luis Perales. Perales is, according to Sox Prospects, our number one pitching prospect in the system. He's probably still a year and a half away from being at the big club, but if he's Rule 5 eligible, that's not someone they should just be letting the rest of the league get a bite at. I believe he has the best fastball velocity in the entire system right now. So that's the guy, like, if we're investing this much organizationally in pitching minds and guys who have been successful helping craft pitchers, especially starting pitchers, other places, yeah, you might want to keep the guy with the most raw talent around. That seems smart to me.
For sure. The Yankees kept Augustin. His name, it's Agustin. So I'm just going to go with Augustin Ramirez, who is apparently an offense first catcher. Now,
Okay.
I had never heard of him until 2 days ago. So take whatever I'm saying with a massive grain of salt. But the Yankees have 6 catchers on their 40-man now. So you know what that means? We are quickly approaching Kyle Higashioka trade hours. That's what it means. And I'm going to have my Sunday best on the day that man gets traded. He has been haunting my existence for like, too long. 8 years, 12. I don't fucking know at this point. I just need him off my favorite baseball team. I wish him the best in his future fucking endeavors.
Doesn't sound like you do.
I do. As long as he's not playing for the Yankees, I don't care what he does. Well, that just contradicts what I said. That's neither here nor there. Just off my team, please. That's all I'm asking. Just trade him for somebody's relief pitcher that can't throw strikes, but throws hard, and we can move on. And I could not watch Kyle Higashioka ever play baseball again. Like, he can't hit. He throws like a child. I don't need any of this.
This feels misguided.
Does it?
He's been fine.
Define fine.
He's a catcher. Like,
He's
lost you no games.
That is a fucking lie.
He's won you no games either. He's been
That's a lie.
Neutral.
That's a lie. Well, both of those are actually lies, but I'll choose to focus on the negative because that's the way.
Well, if he's won you games, then that also cancels out the ones he's lost you.
No, it doesn't.
Definitely does.
No, it doesn't.
+1 and -1 is 0.
Like, he's won like one game and he's lost like 15.
So you said I lied. I said he has won you no games, plural. So that's
knock it off. Knock it off.
You're the one parsing apart what I'm saying. If you don't think I'm going to play that game, I'll fucking night. You haven't.
Hey man, I could petty with the best of them too. All right, but anyways, Kyle Higashioka, I wish you the best in your future endeavors.
You guys love blaming catchers for shit. First it was Gary, now it's
don't put me in that shit. I like Gary. Don't put me in that shit. No, Gary was good until he wasn't.
Gary was good for like 30 games.
No, he wasn't. Stop.
Calm down.
Gary put up 17. He was good. 16. He was good. 19. He was good. That's 2.5 seasons. where he's giving you top of the line hitting production from a catcher from that position.
I don't remember 19.
Oh yeah, he hit 35 bombs in 19.
I'm just talking about baseball in general. I don't remember 19.
Oh,
I don't.
listen. No, 19 was the year
The
everybody was
Nationals
going
chip.
crazy. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
mean, that
remember it
doesn't
because
count.
everybody set career highs in home runs that year. Everybody. Your favorite player, my favorite. Everybody set career like Alex Bregman hit 41 for God's sake. No disrespect, good player, but Alex Bregman, the Gleyber Torres hit 38.
Why does the Red Sox left field wall get so much shit, and the fucking Astros put a choo choo train set up there, and no one's
Fantastic
gonna
question. I
no one's
really
gonna
don't. I
problem?
don't understand it. I've never understood, and I don't. I don't really bang on Fenway's wall because, well, my favorite team, the Yankees. There's only so much I can say.
Sure.
But like I always see people talking about 314, the wall. And then it's like, bro, the wall down the left field line in Houston like 299, bro. Why don't we talk about that shit?
So sure.
It's so fucking short. They got a whole choo-choo train set up back there too on top of it, and nobody speaks about this ever. And I'm like, do y'all not? They play in the playoffs every year, so I know y'all see this
They
shit.
sure do.
Every year they go deep in the playoffs, so I know y'all see the fucking train set up and choo-choo, like when Jose Altuve hits one of his 85 million postseason home runs. I know y'all have seen it. So why do we not talk about it? I don't get it.
Yeah, it's fucked up. Fenway's a great park. Historic. Houston's. Who even
I
knows?
love everything about Fenway besides the seats.
Sure.
Everything
I
about
mean,
the seats are. The next time I go to Fenway, I'm sitting above the monster. I can't do the regular seats, bro. I'm too
well,
big for that shit.
so it's like they've revamped the lower bowl. As long as you're not in the bleachers, they've revamped that so that a modern human can fit in it. Everything else,
Fucking finally, it took long
no,
enough.
this has been for a while. This isn't.
Oh, if it was before 19, then they didn't do enough. I
I
was
don't
there
know
in
that you were
19.
close enough. I don't know that you were. I don't know where you were sitting.
Oh no, I had a homegirl who had seats like legit 5-6 rows from behind first base.
You should have been fine then. Those were
I wasn't. This is not, I was not. I don't know what the problem was. I was not fine.
they can't really add more room because they built on a marsh, so it will genuinely sink into the earth below if they do. I wish I was kidding.
Yeah.
But I always tell other Red Sox fans, I don't give a fuck about visiting fans, like not a single fuck. But I always tell other Red Sox fans, if you don't hear my big ass complaining about those old 1914 ass seats, no one else should be complaining. Like, yeah, if I
Yeah.
sit in terrible seats, my knees are in, like, the seat in front of them is just digging in below the patella, like just making an indentation in my shin bone. Like, that's what will happen. There's no other way for me to sit in those seats.
Yeah, dude.
If I can do it, I don't want to hear a fucking peep out of anyone else. Like, not a single peep. I sit there, I watch my 9 innings, I do my clapping, and I go home, and it hurts. And that's what I do for my team. Everyone, all these other 5'11" motherfuckers talking about like, oh, you can
Fair.
upgrade the seats. Shut the fuck up, dude.
Fair.
Grow up. Grow the fuck up.
Big, you're giving big bars. I can't lie. Give it to him.
If they take there hasn't been a huge push for a new baseball park since like the late 90s. And I will continue to extinguish that anytime someone brings it up. Like, as someone who's seen a historic ballpark torn down for a new park, how much do you hate the new one?
I don't hate it, but I'm also an adult now. Like the old Yankee Stadium, like I look at it different because I was a kid, and it just comes with different feelings and all of that. Like but obviously, like with the times, they kind of priced out the diehards.
Big
Like
time.
they more or less have priced out the diehards. So like the type of fans you see at games are tourists and casuals. A lot of them. So
Right.
it will never have the soul that the old place did.
That's
Do I
that's
hate
my
it?
point.
Yeah,
That's
it
my
will
point.
never
Are the
have that soul.
modern amenities nice? No doubt.
Right.
I'm not
It will
denying
never have that soul.
the old Yankee again, and I say this with reverence. The National Guard had to be brought out in the 04 ALCS because they thought like we might have a homegrown 9/11 on our hands, like something might go down. something might happen. They had to bring in the troops for what was that. That can't happen at the new state. It literally cannot happen. Those people
And that's both a
I'm
good
not
thing and a
afraid
bad
of
thing.
those
But
people.
yes.
I'm not afraid of the people going to new Yankee Stadium. Not a single one of you fucks. Old Yankee Stadium, you better be on your P's and you better wear neutral colors if you're going into old Yankee Stadium.
I do think also with regards, I mean, the new stadium again will never have the soul that the old stadium did, but the new stadium, it's more matchup dependent, like what kind of crowd you get. And I realize that that's the same for everywhere.
Sure.
Duh. But like, a September game in the old stadium, it could have been against
Anyone.
anybody. And you're still getting the same kind of energy, full third
Sure.
energy. And you're still getting the, hey, like something might go down if we don't get our way here type of energy, where you don't get that against everybody at the current place.
No, and it was built different in the sense where, and I've heard players talk about this isn't me saying it, but it was like, it felt like it like enclosed up on top of you. Like it obviously wasn't a dome, but the way
Right.
it was built, it felt like everyone was on top of you. The way it's built now, it's like those people in the 400s, 500, you don't know they're there at all. Like they're so
At
far
all.
away.
Right.
And that's like, yeah, that's where the soul was when
Yeah.
when the pores felt like they were in your ear, in your back pockets, rummaging around looking for lint and loose change. Yeah, that's intimidating. That's gone. And that was
Like the
architecture.
Yankees don't have a home field advantage that will ever match up with what they had in the 90s.
Sure.
Never. It will never match up to that.
No. And they did that to them. That's where it's like, yeah, could we move to Southie and put something on the water and it looked picturesque and beautiful? And yeah, you could build a monster, but is it really the same? Of course it's
not the
not.
same now.
Of course, you could rip down the monster currently there, transport it there. It still won't be the same. Even if it's the exact same wall, it will not be the same. And again, no one's been pushing for this for quite some time. So I'm yelling at no one, but I like to do it every once in a while to remind people how fucking stupid. I honestly think because what was it, 09 that opened?
Yep.
Yeah, you guys won immediately. And it was just like, all right, here we go. I think because of how like Yankee Stadium's kind of lost its edge, that's made Red Sox ownership be like, we've got it good. Like we're all set. We're quite okay.
The Yankee Stadium has lost its edge, and you could argue the Yankees did too.
Big time.
Because they don't operate. They're more responsible now. And that comes with both positives and negatives.
Mostly negatives.
Fair. I'm not going to argue that, for sure.
I was trying to see if there was anything else. No, that was from Big Wolf.
Big Wolf.
No, it was really just the Rule 5 guys and the hitting and pitching coach. Baseball ops, I said it last show, I'll keep saying it until somebody of note signs. The lack of a start date, the tampering, all that. Baseball could benefit from them. I understand there's like the winter meetings and all that, and stuff gets going kind of like right before that. This sucks. This sucks. Like
it's nothing to speak on, man. Like and like we don't even have any juicy rumors either. It's not even like we don't have transactions. Cool. We don't have any like, man, Nolan Arenado might get traded. Like we don't have anything like that either. Like we have Juan Soto, which has been the worst kept secret for a long time.
Sure, right.
And so we just don't care until that actually happens.
The only rumor that pertains to both of us, and it's kind of died down, Passan poured some water on it, but Verdugo plus for Gleyber Torres.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I forgot that was a thing.
Again,
do you understand how mad I'd be if they traded Gleyber Torres for fucking Alex Verdugo? Do you understand?
What's killing me is I've seen plenty of Red Sox fans be like, ew, pass. And it's like, are you the stupidest fucking person alive? Like, what are you talking about?
How could you pass on? Why? Like, Verdugo has no long-term future there, right? Am I speaking out of turn?
Or short term. Like,
right, exactly. He has no short or long-term future.
It would be I'm not even saying this to be like hyperbolic. You would have to fire Craig Breslow if Alex Verdugo's on this roster to opening day. Like you'd have to fire him. Like how Heim was given the like you have to trade Mookie immediately. I assume that was said to Craig like you got to trade Verdugo. No one's gonna fucking care.
First order of business, get that guy up out of
Yeah,
here.
get whatever you can. No one really cares the return.
Dude,
Like that.
how somebody could be upset at trading for Gleyber Torres is insane. What better player do you think you're gonna get for Alex fucking Verdugo? No disrespect, he's a decent major leaguer. Like I'm not trying to sit here and say he's bad. He's more or less a Jag though, and nobody around the Red Sox seems to like him very much, unless I'm making that up.
I think the players don't mind him.
Okay, the manager don't really fuck with him.
Managers got some concerns.
Yes.
The team in general has some.
The team itself.
He's not getting a long-term deal. Like I've said a couple of times about him. Every offseason, the team's like, hey, can you work on this? He does. He comes back at the beginning of next year, showing it off. And then around Memorial Day, it fades. Like it's nothing ever.
Man's not built for the long haul.
No, he reverts just back to what he was before. And it's like he definitely has an edge about him where I trust him in the postseason. But if you can't even get to the postseason and he's part of that problem, then what are we talking about?
Dude, they traded for Gleyber Torres, and Brian Cashman's gonna have to see me. Like I don't know where, I don't know how. I'll figure that part out. But he gonna have to see. Listen, he would have to see me. I knew it was never gonna happen because number one, the Yankees and Red Sox trading relevant players for each other is an insane thought process. Any fucking way, it's never really happened. They've traded bullshit back and forth a couple of times.
Sure.
And then two, Alex Verdugo is just not a Yankee type. He's not.
Ooh, I don't know.
He's not a Yankee type. Have you seen the picture of him with the fucking full gold and a big ass 99 chain? I'm sure that was sent to the Yankees office. Oh, like no, we don't want this. No.
Listen, Robinson Cano used to do that every offseason, have that shit shaved by February 1st. I don't know what you mean Yankee type.
Fair. Well, I don't think Robinson Cano was the Yankee type either. He just hit like he hit. If Alex Verdugo hit like Robinson Cano, it would not. None of this would matter. Like it would not matter. They would just say, "Hey, man, we don't give a fuck what you do off the field." Because Robinson Cano was getting it in away from the field.
What I will say, because I feel like when I say stuff like that, people are like, "Oh, he hates Verdugo." I don't. I genuinely don't. But like, kind of like what you said, he's just a guy. I could see contract year Verdugo going bananas at Yankee Stadium, like 25 home runs, where if you put up his spray chart everywhere else, it's like really 13. You know what I mean? Like I could very much see him being good for the team for exactly 1 year. If you want to re-sign him.
The problem isn't the Yankees trading for him. Like the idea is not the problem. If they trade one of the better power hitting second basemen in the sport for him, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Well, you could just go sign Kevin Kiermaier for $8 million for that.
The way I would Cashman would justify it is it's like you assume he's spoken to Gleyber's agents. Whatever their agents are saying is just like, we're not even close. You know what I mean? Like, we're not even talking the same language. That's where it's like, all right, let's trade him. But even if you were to do that, you could get more than, and it wouldn't be a 1-for-1. It first got floated as a 1-for-1, and then it was like, no, it'd be Verdugo plus. Because the original trade, which is still a trade I would do, was Verdugo for not Clay Holmes, one of your other fucking bullpen arms.
I don't recall. I know it was a thing. That was a thing mid-season, correct? I don't remember which arm though.
Run through bullpen names:
Clay Holmes, Michael King, Wandy Peralta.
It's not King. It's a guy like King. Spot starts sometimes.
It's not Clark Schmidt.
It was Clark Schmidt. It was exactly
Clark Schmidt. Okay.
Yeah, it was Clark Schmidt.
Right. If they wanted to do that tomorrow, they fine.
Like, same. I'd sign up for that. No problem. He would be very helpful for us.
It would be fine. Like, okay, Clark Schmidt is not moving it for me like that.
That makes way more sense to me. When I saw that it was like, oh, it might be Gleyber, I was like, did Cashman get concussed severely?
Can you imagine what the show would look like if that ever happened? It would just be you just happy as shit, me just miserable. I'd be miserable that whole episode.
Would be so funny, regardless of the show. Like Yankee fans in general, when they traded Chapman for Gleyber, I've never seen a reaction from a fan base like, oh, we just fucking got Barry Bonds Jr. Like it was like Gleyber is underrated at this point because of how overrated he was when he was 14 years old. When like
sure.
he was so over. Like he's not even playing the same fucking position he came up at. Like he was at the shortstop of the future for the Yankees. He can't even. His glove doesn't even work at second. If we're being quite honest, like he's not
His
out
glove,
there.
his glove is functional. His glove is functional. The occasional space cadet play, like, yes, that will happen.
Big time. And when you've already got Devers in your infield, you can't have another one of those
Yes,
guys.
like, you can. Because you can hit enough.
He can hit enough, but we also have a hole at DH. And I think if we were to sign Gleyber, or if we were to acquire Gleyber, I think that's where he'd be playing.
No, he'd be playing second.
I don't think he would.
I don't think you trade for him to DH him, but he's never going to be a Red Sox unless he signs there in free agency. So,
which I'd be all for as well. Like I like the bat enough where it's like wherever he wants to play, I'm okay. I floated this too. If I just don't think you could have both playing in the infield. One of them would have to DH, and I don't give a fuck who it is. Like I genuinely don't. I do not care.
Fair
at all. Like I couldn't care a little.
But if they ever trade that man for Alex Verdugo, some bullshit prospect. Oh boy, that would be. Oh, I'd be so angry. Woo, boy. Thankfully, the Yankees are not that stupid. Thankfully.
Well, listen, a lot of offseason. We don't know. Knowing us, we're gonna get off this call and it's gonna be like, oh, Gleyber Torres traded for Alex Verdugo and fucking Noah Song. I'm gonna be like, God damn it, we traded Noah Song. Like I'm gonna be furious about that part, and you're gonna like be outside Yankee Stadium with like fucking Charlottesville, like
100%. Well, exactly like that. Yeah, with the pitchforks and everything. Yes, precisely. Furious.
Again, Clark Schmidt. I'll take that in the bullpen.
Like, he's a perfectly fine 5'6" type of guy. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Acceptable.
Shout out Chris Martin, came in 12th in AL Cy Young. I'm not even kidding.
I mean, he was great. Don't get me wrong.
Unbelievable.
But damn, 12?
12 is way too high. I don't know that there were, I'll also say this, I don't know that there were more than 12. He got 2 votes, 1 4th and 1 5th. So I don't know. I think it was pretty unanimous. Gerrit Cole.
Congrats. Yeah, shout out to Gerrit Cole. You know, one of the best pitchers in baseball. You know, winning what should have been his fucking second Cy Young, but that's neither here nor there.
What other year should he have won it?
19.
Who won it then?
Verlander.
Verlander. Okay.
Cole was so much better than Verlander. No disrespect to Verlander, he was amazing. Cole was on a different planet. I have no idea. They gave Verlander that award because they fucked him out of the first one that Snell won. But that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Was 19, if I remember correctly, I think it was 2017. Chris Sale was so far ahead of everyone else in the AL in August that they took everyone else on the board off the board. You could only bet on either Chris Sale or the field. And of course, Corey Kluber won that Cy Young. If I remember correctly, Cole's was kind of similar. In like July, August, it was just like, oh, Cole's got this one on lock. And then his September was just okay. It wasn't his normal regular season dominance.
Yeah, I don't recall what his September was, to be honest. I remember what the fuck his April through August was, and it was terrifyingly dominant. And they were just like, nah, we're gonna give it to Justin Verlander, who was clearly worse. And they were on the same team, so we knew he was worse, and we saw it often. They were like, no. But shout out to him. Like, one of the few good things about the Yankees this past season was watching Gerrit Cole starts. Amazing pitcher.
I find it very interesting. He had his best year as a Yankee the year they were dog shit. I find that interesting. But he was the Cy Young this year. If I could make an argument for someone else, buddy, would I? Like, there's no doubt in my mind I would. He was the Cy Young this year. It would, like, I would find an argument. I'd be talking about Kevin Gausman's FIP. If the Yankees also had, like, team success, I'd be picking apart Gerrit Cole's season, no doubt. There's no reason for me to. He was unbelievable this year. Just
Top
didn't.
tier. Like if the Yankees weren't dog, should I be picking this season? But like that's just such an unnecessary shot to take. But it was good. I appreciate it. It was a good shot.
For the people who know me watching this, I like to explain myself. Like I'm not usually one to congratulate Gerrit Cole on fucking anything. So when they see me do it and I don't have this extra, like when I still talk about Aaron Judge winning the AL home run record, like I'll be talking about that the rest of my life.
How you said that shit was so snide. The AL home run record, it was so snide.
Because not a thing.
I agree.
It's
I
not
agree. I just found it funny how
thing.
you said it. It's not a thing at all. Because nobody says anything about the fucking NL home run record. Well,
The
nobody said
Trae
that shit
Young
about Barry
Eastern
Bonds reached
Conference
73.
3-point record, the fucking
Dikembe Mutombo Eastern Conference blocks record.
the
No, nobody
Champ
says
Bailey
that shit.
AFC interception record. Like you don't hear those. It's
No,
weird.
you just hear whoever the fuck got the actual interception record. That's what you hear.
You also don't hear that, which is a different.
Fair, true. Because I don't know who that. I said whoever for a reason. I have no idea who the fuck has the single season interception record. None. Don't know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I would for sure. I mean, last year, and I still believe it. I'll always believe it. I'm the guy who's like Ohtani should just win it every year. Until he's like objectively bad at either of them, don't give him the MVP. So that wasn't even as much of a shot at Judge as much as it was just like, dude, he's playing at the same time as Ohtani. Like I'm not even like really shitting on him that bad. I would just give it to the guy who also has like a 3 ERA.
Arguing in favor of Shohei Ohtani was never bad. Like it's never bad. Like Shohei Ohtani. Like it's hard to be like, yeah, it's bad. It was just the people who were acting on both sides, the people who were acting like there was some wide gap are insane.
That I agree with.
Yeah, like the people who we could disagree like adults. Like I thought the right person won the MVP, but the people are like, oh, Judge smokes. Like no, he doesn't. Ohtani smoked him. No, he doesn't. You don't have to lie. They're both deserving.
My argument was always if Ohtani was doing this on the Yankees, I don't know that anyone would even care what Judge was doing. And we'll never know. Like it's not a good argument.
We'll never know, but like it's impossible to argue that franchise prestige doesn't play a role in this. It's impossible to argue against that. So maybe you're probably fucking right.
Like, Roger Maris isn't showing up to Rafael Palmeiro's like 62nd home run. You know what I mean? Like he's not doing that.
It's sad that Rafael Palmeiro was such a good baseball player. I remember him for one thing that has nothing to do with baseball.
I mean, everyone else. Literally everyone else went to those congressional hearings and just was like, "Me no habla inglés." Like they just did something like that. And Palmeiro put on his fucking glasses. It's like you don't even wear glasses, dude. What are you trying? What are you doing right now? No one made a bigger clown show out of those congressional hearings than Rafael Palmeiro. He's like, now when you say steroids, what do you mean? Like, what are you doing, dude?
Yo, everybody else knew what time it was. They were just like, yo, it's over, bro. Like, I'm not here to say nothing. I'm not here to incriminate myself. I don't speak English. Whatever they got to say, they say. Rafael Palmeiro had the glasses on. He was pointing. He was doing whatever the fuck. And it's like, bro, you are off the script, my friend.
Like, I haven't thought about Rafael Palmeiro's congressional hearings in a while. In my brain engraved, and I'm going to Google it to see if I'm right, he was wearing a blue suit, and he was doing a lot of squinting, like looking at whatever. Like, does that look familiar? I don't. It's hard.
I gotta watch that shit again, bro. It was comedy, bro. Everybody else was just like, just keeping it very, very short. Then Rafael Palmeiro just put on a show, and it's like, what are you doing?
I'm Googling it right now.
Like, what are you doing? Like he was pointing, he was pointing like an angry parent. He was doing the most. He was doing the most. And it's like nobody else is doing this except you, Rafi. Nobody else.
He wasn't wearing glasses. I've just added details as the years go on. For some reason, Kurt Schilling's sitting next to him. I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all.
I don't remember that part at all.
But he does have the blue pinstripe suit on, so I do remember that. And yeah, he's doing a whole heap of pointing. He's doing a And
Whole lot of fun.
Schilling's looking at him like, you're really fucking blowing it, dude. Like you are not handling this well.
Man, what a time in baseball that was.
It ruined baseball. Baseball telling on baseball ruined baseball. That's the 30 for 30 we'll never see because Bud Selig from Beyond the Grave will burn ESPN to the ground. If baseball just didn't fucking say anything, the good times just keep on rolling. like they could have easily.
I don't know about nobody else, bro. Give these dudes, bring back steroids. I don't care. Bring it back.
The strangest thing, as much as I like to chirp it, they found the perfect medium by juicing the baseballs. Like they found it. If they had just done that from the get-go, there's nothing.
Nobody would care.
No one give a fuck, dude. No one would care at all. And also, no one would have cared. I blame ESPN so heavily for how public perception was around the steroid guys. They painted it like, and because this was 04, 05, it was early 2000s. The internet's not the internet today. There's no social media. MySpace isn't even a thing yet. This is very much like you pay your cable bill every month. You're watching the worldwide leader. ESPN was front and center murdering baseball. They acted like big crimes were committed. And I understand the MLB is basically like a government entity because they get to skirt all the monopoly laws and all this. Like they own all baseball. I get that. They are closer to the government than any other league.
Right.
They didn't have to report on it like this at all. At no point were they like, oh yeah, everyone's on it. Like it's a very actual even playing field because literally everybody's on juice. They never once said, those guys in single A who still stink. Yeah, they're juiced to the gills too. Like it doesn't just make you magically good at baseball, taking steroids. Like there's a lot of D3 heroes right now in college hitting 217 juiced to the gills. Like just absolutely roided off their face. They never talked about that. They were like,
if you can't hit, you can't hit, bro. It's not going to help you
at all. They were like,
yes, did it turn Barry Bonds from Hall of Famer to, I don't know what, Super Hall of Famer? What do we want to call him? Yes, sure. But he was already a fucking Hall of Famer.
It's like when Godzilla gets the mech suit, so he's Mecha Godzilla. You know what I mean? He's got like the extra shit on him. He's like, he's still Godzilla without all that.
Right. Yeah. Bonds was a inner circle first ballot Hall of Famer before he started taking steroids. Showed up. And then the steroids showed up, and Barry Bonds showed up with a size 9 fitted, and it was over for everybody. Over for everybody.
He had the Brian Robinson big hat on it, real snug.
73 home runs later, and then it was like, oh, all right, I see what's going on here. Yeah. Nah, can you imagine if he had showed up with the Brian Robinson big helmet? That would have been so great.
Bonds was a human bobblehead when he was on the sauce. It was unbelievable.
It was so good.
It was such a good time.
Bro, when they used to take us to San Fran for his at bats, and it's just like you watch him like, the man wouldn't swing at anything that wasn't a strike. It was amazing to watch. And if you made one mistake, bro, that shit was going to McCovey Cove. No questions asked. It didn't matter where the mistake was, what the pitch was. It was going into the Cove.
Barry Bonds warped my entire perception of McCovey Cove. Like that shit doesn't get hit at all anymore.
If I'm not I'm probably saying something real obvious. I think Barry Bonds has more balls hit there than like everybody else ever combined. If I'm not mistaken, I'm
by so much, like by double, by so.
Like when they said the stat, because I remember they were talking about it on a broadcast like 5-6 years ago, and I'm like, I never really thought about it because I just knew like Bonds hit that shit so much. But I never thought about how nobody else has done it since he left. I never really thought about it. They were like, hey, he did it like 85 times, whatever it was, and the next highest is like 15. It's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
The kayak industry in San Francisco was booming in 2002. Yes, there were so many people out there going. Now there's like one per game out there, like, and maybe Conforto gets a hold of one. Like I don't
like, bro. If come what, like September that year, like yo, you could catch a life changing souvenir if you
Oh
out there.
man, yeah. Shout
Complete
out,
life changing souvenir.
shout out the dickhead who caught the Judge AL record breaker who took that shit home and sold it for $2 million less than he could have sold it for the day of. What an asshole! What an absolute asshole! He was like, "This will people will like this line." No, they won't. They got over it pretty quickly. Like they stopped
Yeah,
caring.
we don't care about the AL home run record like that, bro.
No, the dime to sell it was the second you caught it. The second you caught it, you should have pulled out the gavel. Like, who's the highest bidder? Who? You? Bang. $3 million. There you go. Awful. But since we'll end on this, it is Shohei season. It is big Shohei Ohtani hours all off season until he signs. And before I get into what I'm gonna say, what number player do you think he'll be to sign? Do you think the whole offseason's waiting for him? Or do you think he's more of like a right before Christmas type signing?
I think he's. I think he probably signs surprisingly quickly. I don't think he wants to drag this out. It's what, the 15th. I wouldn't be surprised if he signs before December hits. I wouldn't be shocked.
Wow.
I wouldn't be shocked. That's an aggressive prediction, but I wouldn't be shocked.
I don't hate it. Before. And we've talked about it before. I think you brought it up on here. When he signed with the Angels, it was relatively quick.
Yes, it was. He doesn't seem like the type who wants to fucking drag his feet and drag the shit out. So I think he signed relatively quickly.
And it's also like people weren't surprised he became a free agent. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a shock that his contract ended. The teams that are going to be in on Shohei, there's what, 3, 4 realistically? Like how many teams do you think are even going to call?
How many thinks? 3 or 4 sounds about right. Because the 3 that came to mind were the Dodgers, the Cubs, and the Mets.
Interesting. Okay, so the reason I brought it up is because Jeff Passan, that jackass, floated it out there that Shohei is intrigued by Fenway Park, a thing that will get Red Sox fans all tingly in the balls and ultimately means fucking nothing. Like it means absolutely nothing. He's like,
as somebody who used to root for the Knicks, let me tell you, that intrigue with the park, with the stadium means nothing. Let me tell you.
Respectfully to the Knicks. Do never compare the Red Sox to the Knicks.
I'm not comparing.
2003, you could have got away with that shit. You can't do that right now.
I'm not comparing anybody to anybody. I'm just saying that intrigue with the stadium means nothing. If they're going to sign with the Red Sox, if Shohei's going to sign with the Red Sox, and they are clearly in a discussion, I didn't think of them. They belong there. But, I don't know why. All right, I know what the show is. I didn't think about them in that context.
Just because your bum ass team's not involved doesn't mean mine is.
Yeah, like I didn't think about them in that fucking regard. But if he signed with the Red Sox, it's not because of Fenway Park. He's gonna sign because the dollars and cents make sense, and he's gonna sign because the team makes sense. That's what he's gonna sign for.
The difference to me between basketball and baseball is like every basketball court quite literally is the same. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
To the T, it's the same. Although these new fucking courts and Denver in general, Denver gets real loose with do we attach our rims this game or not? But that's neither here nor there.
45.
Yeah, listen, we got the Warriors in town. Steph's gonna earn these threes tonight.
Right. Like you think this is Chase Center, buddy? Nope.
That would be an unbelievable. I just shit on the entire MLB scandal. If it came out that the Warriors this whole time were taking like 18-foot threes all these years, that would be unbelievable.
That would be so funny.
But I do think there is something to like, hey, I'm a lefty. I'm arguably the best hitter in baseball. There's right field directly down the line. 5 feet left of the line, no, but directly down the line is the shortest you can hit a home run in baseball. Left field's got this 37.5-foot contraption that goes from left field down the line all the way to like left center. I could do some real damage here, career numbers wise, with doubles and dingers. Like that's something I could understand someone taking into consideration. So I don't think it's crazy he would factor. Same with the Cubs. Like to me, the Red Sox and the Cubs, like head and shoulders since old Yankee Stadium closed. I think it's us and the Cubs, like by far ahead of the field in terms of stadiums.
Haven't been to enough stadiums to make that
Me neither,
to
but
argue
just
it.
watching them on TV, like those like the Cubs. I don't feel like you can watch Cubs games in high def. Like they still have that grainy '90s film on their
They
cameras.
do,
Like
actually.
Cubs games look old.
They do. They do. But Wrigley is great. But yeah, they do have that camera where he's like, yo, are y'all in 2023 or like what's going on here?
Let's
Like
do.
Aramis Ramirez don't play for y'all no more. So we could join the current era.
I'm gonna ask you this because it's so goddamn funny. When did Wrigley Field get lights?
Lights?
Lights.
When did it open?
Oh, it opened in like. Oh, well, open. Well, it's like fucking old.
I'll just guess 1950.
Let me see when it opened first.
Yeah.
When did Wrigley Field open? So April 23rd, 1914.
Okay.
So when did they get lights?
1950.
You were born. It was August 8th, 1988.
What?
They had a stat this season. I said it on TWS, RIP. I said it on TWS because I saw it during the season. They played like their 7th Saturday night game ever this past season. Like, I love it so much.
That's so do I. I'm shocked though, but because like I thought I was being aggressive with my guess. I thought like I was like 1950 sounds like about right. Like 1988, they didn't have lights before then, so they just played day games. They just literally only played day games
only, and then,
until 88.
Listen, throughout like the 70s, it was still big doubleheader hours.
Yeah,
they
for
were
sure.
playing at 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. They were like, listen, pal, well, unless we turn the cars on in the outfield, we got nothing. We got to get this going.
And they played their like 8th Saturday night game ever. Yo.
Honestly, I oversold it. I think it was like 4th. Like it was, they have not played a lot of weekend night games, which I get. Like everyone I know from Chicago, and obviously I was with Barstool, there's a lot of fucking Chicago guys there. All they talk about is like, oh man, summer afternoons at Wrigley. And it was like, yeah, I like an afternoon game too every now and then. I didn't realize that's all they had was afternoon game.
Yeah, like I knew that they were heavy on the day game. I knew that. But goddamn, no lights till 1988. I just thought they did the day game because all right, that's just what we do here. I didn't think they didn't have lights until 88, bro.
I thought it was like, listen, it's Central Time Zone. We've got the WGN contract that for some reason. Did you guys get WGN in New York?
Bro, I couldn't tell you the last time I saw. We used to. I don't know if we still do.
That's what I mean. Growing up.
Yeah. I watched a ton of Cubs games.
Same. We got Red Sox, Braves, and Cubs games.
Yeah, like, Yankees, Braves, and Cubs. Same thing. Yeah, I watched a ton of the Braves.
Ton of Braves, ton of Cubs. It was awesome. Who do you think? So they were 1988. Obviously the last. I'm not counting new stadiums because they get lights the day they're fucking opened. Who do you think was like, what do you think the year was the penultimate, the second to last team was? Like, do you think it was 87? Like,
I'm going to go extreme here. I'm going to go like 1940.
1948, the Detroit Tigers. I guess we'll put up some lights.
So the last team to get lights before the Cubs beat them by 40 years. 40 years. Insane.
It's like the same year the color barrier was broken. Yeah.
They went 40 more fucking years without lights. What an insane discovery. I love it.
I love everything about the Cubs. It's such a funny team. It's
40 years without lights.
Such a funny team.
And they had that stadium open. It took them 74 fucking years to get some lights. 74.
They were like, for what? It's just another cost. Like they go out sometimes.
We play in the day all the time. Why the fuck do we need lights for?
The sun's free, idiots. What are we doing? They got fucking shrubbery in the outfield. It's the best. Everything about the Cubs, Wrigley Field, is so unbelievable. It's in a neighborhood, which Fenway's the same, and Yankee Stadium the same. It's just in the middle of a fucking neighborhood.
Yankee Stadium being where it is so funny, dog. Because you walk 3 blocks north and you're just like, yo, where the fuck am I? It's so great. It's so great.
Baltimore is like that too. It's like I've never been to Camden, but everyone I know that, because Red Sox fans love to go down there. It's short enough. It's a cool stadium. Hitting it to right field. They've got a nice, maybe one day this offseason, after the offseason dies down, we'll rank our favorite like home run ballparks, like just to watch home runs fly out of. Camden's up there for me because they've got that fucking factory across the street that makes boxes. I don't know what they do there. But everyone I've
no clue what they do there.
Everyone I've talked to that's been to Camden's been like, yeah, they've got several police officers just directing tourists, like, do not go this way.
I went to Camden once, so I was like 10. So I have no fucking idea what was what back then and who was telling who to go where. No idea. But it wouldn't shock me. Because again, you walk out of Yankee Stadium, you walk 2 blocks north, buddy, you are in for a reality check. Because it's going to be like, yeah, that $1 million Palace is not here. Like, you're not there anymore. Like, you in a different part of town, buddy.
Yeah, you need to know the lingo. You can't
You can't just pull up. No, that's not how this works.
You can't get jammed up. You can't.
No.
And that's where it's like, so and we'll get back to Shohei in a second and we will wrap up. I remember, I'll call it 05. It's not like the Red Sox broke the curse in 04 and Yankee fans were like, all right, you're part of the club now. 05, 06 and prior versus now, wearing a Red Sox hat, not at Yankee Stadium. Obviously, that's different. Those 3-block radiuses we're talking about, past that. Do people even care anymore like they once did?
Yes. It just depends on who.
Sure.
Sure. You are more likely to be verbally accosted, let's put it that way, by several people like 20 years ago. Whereas now it might be 2, might be 3. Like, it's not going to be everybody. But the people who want to let you know, they will. Like, they will let you know. It's just not going to be 20 people. It's going to be like 3, maybe 5. It also depends on the day. Like, if it's a playoff game, like, it might be like 50.
Yeah.
Like, it might be like 50. Like, after game 3 in 18, was it 18? Yeah, 18. Where the Red Sox won by like 27 runs. Yo, if you was walking around with a Red Sox hat that day, you might have got hands put on you, let alone words. You might have got hands put on you outside the stadium.
That wasn't our fault.
Sure, you're not wrong. It doesn't matter at that point. They don't give a fuck whose fault it was.
No doubt. I remember this had to have been. It was either 03 or post 04. It wasn't 04. I know that for a fact. So it was either 03 when we were on the rise up, or it was post. I can't remember for sure. But I was sitting in the bleachers at Fenway, and there was a guy there with a Yankees hat. And every time he went to go get like a beer or a hot dog, he made a big to-do about like flashing the Yankees hat to everyone and like egging on the booze. And this guy got his fucking, by like the 4th, got his fucking ass beat. I felt bad for him. He got tuned up. And I really felt bad for him when security came and ejected him. I was like, listen. Ooh. It's not like he didn't deserve the beating, but you could have just moved him to a different section. Like, they got him the fuck up out of there. And I was like, he poked the tiger.
That's home field advantage, baby. That's all it is. Home field advantage. They were just like, hey, man, we got to get the enemy out of here. We're not getting the fans. No, we're not getting the fans of our team out of here. Like, oh, you're the outsider. You're the problem. We're going to eliminate you. We're going to get you out of here. Now, it becomes more interesting when fans start fighting each other. Sure. That becomes more interesting.
I went to a game. It had to have been 18. And I was sitting next to a Yankee fan, and he was just like a regular dweeb, you know what I mean? Just a regular white guy. And he didn't say shit the whole game. Like, he was there with his girl. He was just like talking about ball with her. Like, he didn't make a scene. He wasn't like fucking 27. He wasn't one of those guys. He was just he just happened to be a Yankee fan.
Right.
And the dickheads behind us were like college age, fuck everybody.
Oh yeah, the worst type.
Yeah, and they were like giving him, like, they were talking shit at first, and he was just like, ha ha ha. And I was like, these are not like your friends. Like, they're not talking shit to be funny. Like, they want to harm you. And they dumped like popcorn or something on him, or it might have even been beer. And I turned around and I was like, "Will you fucking grow up?" Like, I don't like this guy either, just because I'm not putting hands and feet up. Like, this guy's. There are people you can beat up, no doubt. Like, there are fans you can beat up that deserve it. This was not one of those guys. This was just a guy trying to catch a game, and I felt so bad for him. I was like, "Will you knock it the fuck off, guys? Like, come on."
This is what it's like in Fenway, man. This is what it's like.
Hey, listen,
toxic fan base. This is what it's like.
If it's toxic to opposing fan bases and Dodgers pitching coaches, completely fine with it. But also know who you're attacking. Like, there are legitimate threats, and then there's just a guy there to watch a game. Leave the guy there to watch a game alone. The other dickheads, I remember this was probably 02, 03. There were Yankee fans in front of us, and my parents, God bless them, would just like let me go to games. Like, like, that's one of the benefits of being a city kid. They're like, you're fine, go. So it was like me and my friends, the guys in front of us were probably like 26, 27, and they're talking shit with us, but like talking, like we're both talking shit. Like, we're laughing. We're just taking jabs at each other. It was never serious.
Right.
And I remember I was like, I bet you $20. The bases were loaded. Doug Mirabelli digs into the box. I was like, I bet you he goes yard here. And the guy was like, you're on. Like, the stats are right there. I can see who Doug Mirabelli, even if I've never heard of this man, I can see what he's done. And God damn it, if Mirabelli didn't go bridge like first or second pitch, I was like, fuck you, pal. He paid up real quick. That was awesome. That's like one of the better moments I've had with Yankee fans, was that moment. It can be amicable. I prefer it when it's not. Definitely prefer it when it's there's some animosity involved.
Fenway was way too peaceful when I was there.
It's
like
different times.
Way too peaceful.
Different times.
I know, but I was ready to talk. Now, granted, the Yankees lost. They didn't do me any favors. Like, it was never competitive.
What year was this?
19.
Okay. That wasn't a year where we were
really... 18.
Okay, 18 is different. 19, we knew Mookie was leaving. We had just won, so it was...
Yeah, it was 18.
You know what I mean? 18 was like, we better win this.
Good luck the rest of the season. I heard that about 38 times. I'm just sitting there like, yo, can somebody
pat negative? You on the head? Yeah.
Right. Like, can somebody say something fucking negative, bro? Like, I thrive on negativity. I'm not here for all this positive shit. What the fuck is this?
No, 18... that's what sucks. People always like to chirp me like, oh, you've seen the best football you've ever seen. Like, yeah, I saw it for 20 years. That was awesome. Like, you'll never be able to make me feel bad about that. I don't care if we suck the rest of my life with the Patriots. Like, no one's going to match what we did for 20 fucking years. Good luck. The Red Sox, we like ping-ponging between fifth and like the greatest team you've ever seen. 18 start to finish. We haven't had a season like 18. Like, the Yankees, all their championships have been like 2018. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty wire to wire dominance.
Outside of 2000. Yeah, pretty much.
Sure. But even 2000, you've just won what, 3 of the last 4.
Right. But like, they won 86 regular season. They did not care. They mailed that shit. But yeah.
Yeah. Definitely different. But you had the recent history where you just thought, just get us in, we'll be fine, which was true.
Yep.
For us, 04 we came in second. 07 we won outright. But even 07, it was just, we weren't used to it yet. We'd only had the one. 13 we were in last place in 2012. 2011 we had blown the biggest first place lead of all time. So it was shaky. We had the bombing in March. It was very shaky. People did not believe in that team. And then 18 rolls around. It's like, Jesus fucking, like, you would have to be genuinely like 120 years old to have seen a Red Sox team like the 2018 team before in your life. So
It was
that
an
was
amazing team. I can't. I hate to
no,
admit, but they
I'm
were.
not even saying this to talk shit. It's just
They were.
like
I know they were. They
this
were an incredible team.
this was rare air. And so 19 rolls around and it's just like, yeah, we're still eating off that 18 year. And it was a weird year. So if it had been 19, yeah, I get the
Yeah, 18 was peaceful. It was just like, good luck with the season. Hope we see you down the road all day. And I'm just like, why are you people so nice? What the fuck is this shit? Like, this is not what I heard about fucking Fenway Park. And I read, yeah, it's 2018 or whatever. Like, yeah, it's not 1998. Yeah, a little bit different. Fine. But, like, not one negative comment the whole game. Not one. I was like, this is incredible. Shit, I spent time at bars before and after the game. No negative commentary. I'm like, liquor can't even get the negative commentary out of y'all. This is crazy. What's going on?
well, that's where you run into a dickhead like me who is just like picking apart individual players, not even the franchise. You know what I mean? Like we've had plenty of back and forth like that where I'm explaining why Dustin Pedroia's defense makes him actually more valuable than Robinson Cano in like 2009. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of arguments you'll run into, not like, hey, fuck your face and your whole family. Like that's what it was. That's what
I
it was
think I
in
prefer to fuck
03.
my face on my whole family.
Oh,
Yeah.
no doubt. It's way
Yeah.
better because it's like, all right, either we're going to throw hands or
But
this is going
basically,
to dissolve.
like, we gonna throw hands, I'm gonna walk away. There's two
Right.
options here. Right? I'm just be like,
Me goading you into a Pedroia Cano debate.
right, because it's just gonna go round and fucking round for 20 minutes, and nobody's gonna win, nobody's gonna lose, and it's just gonna be the same shit over and over and over. It's like, yeah,
I'm probably gonna walk away feeling like I won, whether or not that's
of
the
course
case.
you are, but you're not gonna actually win. You're gonna walk away feeling like you won, which is what matters.
I don't know. One of the times I was with you in New York, we were at one of the bars. I can't remember, and there was a Giants fan there, and this was 2014 or 2015.
I think it was 14. Yeah.
Yeah, and do you remember who this person was?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't remember. I remember we hung out a bit in 14. I don't really remember the specifics outside of one story that will not make the airways.
Sure.
But yeah.
No. I mean, I don't give a fuck.
Okay, fair. All right.
But there was a Giants fan there, and he was just like, "We're the team of the millennium," and I was just like, "No, like, what are you talking about?" And we got into like a 30-minute argument, and it was just like, "Why am I arguing with a Giant? I don't give a fuck about this team. Like, I don't care at all about the San Francisco Giants." I was like, "This doesn't scratch my
Getting
itch
into
at all."
a 30-minute argument about the San Francisco Giants of New York is,
I mean,
special.
I do feel, yeah. And when it wasn't like a 75-year-old who watched like the New York baseball Giants, you know what I mean? That I would appreciate more. Someone who was like Willie Mays. It's like, no, I don't care about that. By the way, have you watched the Willie Mays documentary?
I've not. What streaming service is it on?
I'm gonna double check because it's worth watching. I think it's HBO.
Okay, I'll look it up.
Yeah, HBO. It's. Okay. I obviously already hold Willie Mays in very high regard because I'm not an asshole. You leave that documentary being like, yeah, he's 1-1 all time. I feel like I could argue against everyone else who gets put into that conversation. I don't know the argument against Willie Mays being the greatest baseball player of all time.
I'm not gonna get much of an argument from me. Like, I think it's Bonds, but
I could argue steroids. You know what I mean? That's where
right. Like, that's why I can't argue again. And Mays was incredible. Like, the numbers were incredible. The impact was incredible. Like, everything you want to put into a GOAT argument, like, he has the claim to.
So, all of it.
He's at worst like top 5 at worst, and that might be stretching it a little bit.
They talk about how they built the stadium in San Francisco. They went during the day and they were like, this seems fine. Not knowing at night, like every night the wind blows in every night. Like, he legitimately, if they had stayed in New York or gone to Anaheim, he probably hits like 718 minimum. I think he's still like 6.
Like, he's still in the sixes.
He's still in the sixes. I know he's in the sixes.
I want to say it's like mid 600s, right?
Yeah, it's like 650 or something.
Yeah, it's like mid 600s.
So far, 660.
660.
Yeah. So, so if he had played in normal circumstances, he's at least 700. You know what I mean? Like that's where it's like he's got even advanced metrics has him as the second best center fielder of all time behind Andrew Jones. That's a different podcast entirely. But yeah, I don't know the argument against him. I really don't. Everyone else I could piece together, not even just like being a dickhead argument, like a legitimate argument, like, oh, Barry Bonds. I wouldn't argue this because I love Barry Bonds, but if I were to GOAT argument against him, steroids and defense would be my arguments, obviously. Willie Mays doesn't have any of those.
Like, bro, if you're going to be a top 3 center fielder of all time at worst and hit damn near 700 home runs, like, right. Who is anybody to really argue strongly against him? Like, the only thing I can say is I didn't see him, which obviously, sure. I didn't see him, and I saw Bonds. But again, you could sit here and be like, all right, Bonds was regular great before he started taking steroids. And then he became Popeye the Sailor Man, who just hits home runs every fucking game. It's different, you know what I mean? Whereas Willie Mays was just out here drinking beer and playing baseball, baby, and he was great at it.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a really good documentary. They talk about him in Harlem when he was playing in New York, and he was just like playing on the street before games and all that. Like it's a very cool documentary. It doesn't even talk about the stats as much as I would like to, because Willie Mays was and he's still alive, which is let me double check that before I keep saying stuff. Yeah, still alive. 92 years old. He's just chugging along. But Shohei to the Red Sox, it's getting gassed up to the point where now if he doesn't sign here, people will be angry. That's what I want. Between passing, local media, New Balance, it's getting to a point where it's like someone else, I think it was Rosenthal, someone had it where it was just like the industry's just kind of had Shohei to the Giants locked in for a couple, or to the Dodgers locked in.
Oh man, I rolled my eyes when you said Giants.
Yeah, no one's locked in.
No one's ever locked into the fucking Giants.
They'll get free agent number 7. That's who the Giants will get. I don't know. Whoever that is, that's who they've got locked in.
They might sign Matt Chapman for all we fucking know.
Sure. Yeah, that's a perfect.
They might sign Matt Chapman.
Perfect Giants. And I like Matt Chapman. This is not a knock on Matt.
No, it's not a knock on Matt Chapman, but you know what it is. Yeah.
Yes. People like to be like, oh, the Giants are going to get the top 3. No, they're not. They just will not. That's why I don't know why we do this every offseason. The national and local talk about Shohei to Boston's gotten to a point, and I don't think anyone considers like the fans in this outside of like me, because I'm still a fan. It's gotten to a point where people are going to be like genuinely angry, and that's not fair to Breslow and how he's starting his tenure. Because he didn't start this shit. He just fucking got the job. Like this had started before when Heim was still involved. Like this was the talk. I'm not saying you have to sign him by any means, but if you don't sign him, you better like have the Soto package ready to be traded. You know what I mean? Like you can't go like, oh no, we've got Kiermaier, we traded Verdugo. Even if you traded Verdugo for Gleyber, people would be like, that's not what we thought.
Them boys ain't got no pitchers to trade. They ain't getting Juan Soto, so good luck with that.
I don't think that's true. Just because nationally the like Baseball Americas don't love like a Yordani Monegro doesn't mean he doesn't have crazy value. And you're underestimating taking Xander's contract back, which no team would love to do more than the Red Sox.
Fair. And I assume he would waive his no trade to go back to Boston. So fair.
One would assume different owners, they're different, not ownership, different general manager and all that. To me, that's too perfect of an offseason to get Soto and Xander. Like I don't even give a fuck about the pitching rotation.
Nobody needs that, because that podcast episode would just be you talking to me just in there with the straightest of faces for 40 minutes or however long it goes.
Yeah, I'd be like, listen, this Soto guy's fine. Xander being back home.
Like, yo, Soto cool or whatever, but like this is not who I'm concerned about here. No.
We needed a righty bat, needed a middle infielder. This is the real guy. Soto's a throw-in.
Boy, I would turn my camera off so fast if you ever said that shit to me.